You are listening to a special bonus episode of the Underlayer where the real story lives. And today, that real story is that somebody challenged me to see if I could do 30 minutes of stand-up comedy. And since no one will book me to go on stage and do that, you're going to get it here on my podcast. So we're going to bring it straight to your headphones, car speakers, or maybe your computer speakers if you find this on YouTube. These are a collection of stories that I have observed or that have happened to me. I don't write jokes from scratch. That is not my style. I try to tell stories in an entertaining, somewhat funny way. And my name is David Young. Again, this is the Underlayer where the real story lives. And today I'm going to try to make you laugh and hopefully at least smile on this week of Thanksgiving. This will be perfect if you're driving in your car. So a quick backstory before I get started. I was on a call last week and I mentioned that I did 6 minutes of stand-up about a year ago. And the person that I was talking to was a little bit surprised. And she was like, "Oh, I didn't know that you did stand-up." I was like, "Well, I really don't, other than 6 minutes a year ago." But it's something that I've thought a lot about. And I keep a lot of material. I keep notes going back as far as 10 years, stories that happened to me. It really started when I was sitting in a cubicle in an office job. I started to collect stories of kind of the dumb things that I observed that happened in offices, kind of like Office Space, but more modern. And I would keep those. And I thought, if I ever got on stage, I'm going to make fun of this corporate experience. Ironically enough, when I did my 6 minutes, I didn't even talk about any of my office material. And I don't even have that planned for today. So it is the genesis of everything, but I keep not talking about it. So she said, "Do you think you could do 30 minutes? Do you think you have enough material for 30 minutes? And I was like, I think so, but I don't know. I haven't really tried it." So she challenged me. She said, "I want you to either write out 30 minutes of material or perform it." I thought, okay. So a couple of days later, I jotted 18 ideas down in a notebook. And then I grabbed a microphone, not this one. I have a fake one that I practice with. It makes me feel official. I just need a stage in my house. And I just looked at the list of stories. I had them grouped like travel, kids, miscellaneous. So I just started with one, and I wanted it to try to make some sense in terms of logic. I just want to be random, like all over the place. So I started with one. It was a miscellaneous story, and then I just kind of jumped through it, and I got to 29 minutes. And I was walking around my office. Again, I have this fake microphone. I was trying to make it real as if I was talking to an audience, and it ended up being 20 minutes. So I was like, "Oh, well, I only got to 7. I still have over 10 stories left, so I definitely have enough material." So I started thinking about it more, and I was like, "Well, I'm not going to write all this out. I don't really write material. It just kind of lives in my head, and it's different every time." And I thought, well, I do have a podcast. I can record it. It's not quite the same, but maybe you might find some humor in it. So this is it. So I have a note card with ideas of the same stories I told to myself in my office, and here we go. So this is kind of it. Now, COVID, like for a lot of us, really changed the dynamics. And for us, one of the major changes was I have 2 kids. They are currently 16 and 11, but they were not that age 5 years ago. We used to eat dinner at the table. We have a dining room table. We would mostly, my wife makes most of the food, and we would eat at the table. And we do the traditional, how was your day, and talk about your day, all that kind of stuff. Well, when COVID hit, and then everyone was home, and I don't know, it just changed everything. And we started to eat dinner watching TV. So we have the smaller kind of kitchen table that my wife and the kids would eat, where they would eat, and then I have a recliner. It's in front of the TV in our family room, and that kind of became the new normal. We've never gone back to the dining room table. I think we've eaten there like 4 times in the last 5 years. Sometimes I wonder if my kids can even eat at a dining room table. They don't even know what it is. They're like, "Can we go sit on the couch in front of the TV? I'm much more comfortable there." And that's what it's moved to now, is that 3 of them sit on the couch. I'm still in my chair, which I think I'll be forever, and watch TV. So, we would watch shows like Is It Cake is a fan favorite for everyone. Some game shows, movies. But the show that we've probably watched the most is Jeopardy. And there's nothing like Jeopardy because they're the dumbest smart people alive, right? Like you could watch an entire episode of Jeopardy and you don't know any answers. Like, right, it's like the 5th largest river in Egypt, and you're like, I don't even know what the 1st largest river is. Like, do they have rivers? I don't know. You have no idea, but they know all of it, right? They're just like instant. And then the clue could be, wore 23 at North Carolina, wore 23 with the Chicago Bulls, won 6 championships, considered the greatest basketball player ever. And, they're like, who's Don Mattingly? I mean, they just, right, no idea. They don't even know who Michael Jordan is. So it's weird to watch this. So a few years ago, I'm going to read this. I have it up on my screen. This is a real clue. You can YouTube it. And this is a real clue on the show. And I was stunned at the responses. So here it is. I was there. This is the clue. I was there in 2007 when this original lead singer for Van Halen reunited with the band for a concert tour. I'll read it again real fast. I was there in 2007 when this original lead singer for Van Halen reunited with the band for a concert tour. Now, I'm a huge classic rock fan, and I love Van Halen. So I was like, oh, this is a good one, right? And the answer is obvious. Like everybody out there knows, right? I'll give you a second. It's David Lee Roth. Everybody knows it. Okay. If you didn't, now you know. So one of the great frontmen in rock. First guy rings in. Now, the 3 contestants, it's the person, I think it was 3 guys, I don't remember, doesn't matter. Far right, rings in. Who is Sam Kinison? Now, Sam Kinison was a comedian. He was not a singer. He did yell a lot, so maybe he could have been a singer. He also died, I think, in 1992. It would have been very tough for him to perform at that 2007 concert. So immediately out. Middle guy rings in, who's Eddie Van Halen. Now, that is a significantly better guess. Not right, but at least he helped form the band and he played in the band. He just was the lead guitar player. He did not sing. We're 0 for 2. So the third guy has already heard comedian, guitar player. He rings in. He's the defending champion, the returning champion. Like, it's a layup, but not for Jeopardy contestants. It's not. Who's Eddie Vedder? Now, at least Eddie Vedder is a singer, and he is the front man for a band. I think it might be closer than Eddie Van Halen, who was in the band but didn't sing. I'm not sure. We could debate that. He just happens to be the front man for Pearl Jam. He also was born in 1964, and Van Halen formed unofficially in 72. He would have been 7. 74 was their official form. He would have been 9. And their first album was released in 1978. I don't think Eddie Vedder's voice when he was 13, he was born in December, so we're going to assume it wasn't. After that, would not be the Eddie Vedder voice you would imagine belting out Running with the Devil and Ain't Talking About Love. So they went Sam Kinison, Eddie Van Halen, and Eddie Vedder. And Ken Jennings, I don't remember what he said. I should have looked that up prior to this, was basically like, you guys are all fired from this show. Get off the show. Anyway, that's Jeopardy. The other thing that happened in COVID is that we got a dog. And I was the driving force behind that because with being with everyone, I needed a distraction. I needed something else to focus on. So we got a dog. He turned 5 last week. Soft-coated Wheaten Terrier. We named him after, my kids named him Kobe after Kobe Bryant, who died in the plane crash, which kind of kicked off the year 2020. So we have been having some behavior issues with him for about a couple months. He's been a little bit aggressive towards us. We go to pet him. He walks away from us. Just kind of some strange stuff. And he's super friendly. He's fluffy. He looks like a little polar bear. And he's very, very loving. So it's kind of odd behavior. So I took him to the vet. And they put him on some medicine, like anti-anxiety medicine. I actually get it filled at the human pharmacy. And what's funny is we've always kind of called him Kobe the dog, which is obvious because he is. But now I have a prescription bottle, and it says Kobe, and in parentheses, the dog. So we made that happen. Now, one of the things the vet said, or had us do, is take him to something called a behavioral vet specialist. Now, before I get to that, there is an old clip, which you can YouTube, from Jay Moore. And Jay Moore does, it's like a 3-minute bit on doing his Christopher Walken impression. And it's hilarious. And I highly recommend you try to find it. It's pretty old, but you can find it on YouTube. It's like late 90s, I think, maybe early 2000s. But he tells this story when they were filming Suicide Kings. And he does the bit on, he's having this conversation with Christopher Walken. He does the Walken voice as he's telling the story. It's very funny. But the main part of the story is that Jay Moore's dog had his tail docked. I think it was a Doberman, but I'm not sure. And Walken is asking him, like, hey, what happened to your dog's tail? And Jay Moore's like, they cut it off when they're puppies. It's called docking the tail. And Walken is like, that's too bad because, I would love to have a tail. When you were wagging it, you'd be like, Chris is mad today, back off. And then Jay Moore's like, well, Chris, I think dogs wag their tail when they're happy. And then Walken hits him with a mabayou. And we've been saying maybe you, like in our family, ever since we heard that because it's hilarious. Anyway, so we take our dog to this behavioral specialist last week, and it's a long appointment. We're there for like an hour and 50 minutes. And at one point, we're going through everything that had happened and recapping his history. And the main vet is like, like dogs don't always wag their tail when they're happy. Like sometimes dogs wag their tails when they're anxious or they're afraid or they're mad. And as soon as she said mad, and we're sitting maybe 20 feet away from them, I said to my wife, I was like, Christopher Walken was right. Like all this time. We just thought it was being funny. But it was. Like the dog can wag his tail. He's like, back off. Kobe's angry today. I don't want you to touch me. Do not pet me. Do not rub my head. Do not rub my back. Don't touch my belly. I'm going in the crate. The hell with you guys. So this whole time we thought it was a bit. It's true. Walken was ahead of the game. 25 years. He had it. My wife almost spit out her coffee when I said that, like under my breath. She was the only one that heard me. So, as I mentioned, 2 kids, 2 boys, 16 and 11. Kids are funny. And the older they get, we have them try to do like more stuff around the house and try to help out. So things like, they load and unload the dishwasher, wash the pots and pans. They take out the garbages like around the house. And, they always do it. They're very disgruntled when they have to do it. They don't give the best effort. I won't say they try to get out of it, but it's a C minus, D plus type effort. Usually, not always, but usually. And it's just, they fight with each other to do it. It could take 2 minutes. They try to, they make it take 20. And anyway, so one day, so we put the garbage out, our garbage, like the main blue recycling garbage bins on the street Thursday nights. It gets picked up on Friday morning. So one morning I'm walking out and I'm walking the dog and I look over and our bin, our blue plastic bin it's not there. And I knew I put it out and I knew that the garbage had come because I'd already seen and heard the truck and the bin was there. I was like, why would someone steal our garbage bin? Like there's like 500 plastic ones here in the neighborhood. Like, nobody needs them. And nobody's driving around like, hey, look at that. An empty blue kind of busted up plastic garbage bin. I think I'm going to throw that in the back of my car. I was like, what happened to it? And then I see my oldest son walking down the driveway and both garages were up. And I was like, hey, have you seen the garbage can? What happened to it? And he was like, oh, I put it back in. I moved it back in. It was more probable that someone stole our garbage can than that my oldest son had looked out, seen that it had been emptied by the truck, and put it back into the garage. That seemed significantly less likely. He'd never done that before, and he's never done it since. So speaking of garages, a couple weeks ago, so he just turned 16. He got his permit. Now he's been driving, mostly with my wife, school parking lots around the neighborhood, trying to get him some reps. And we were leaving. It was a Thursday night, I believe, 2 Thursdays ago. And we were leaving to go to my other son's basketball game, which is very close to our house, very short drive. And he just got his permit. He's very excited. So he was like, I want to drive over there. It's short enough. I can do it. All right. So both garages are shut. My wife's car is parked directly in front of the main garage. He gets in the driver's seat. I am directly behind him in the back seat. My wife is in the front seat. She drives a Honda Pilot. And he does a great job. He gets in, seatbelt on, adjusts the seats, adjusts the mirrors. Looks like he's done this thousands of times. Total pro. No problem. And then he put it into neutral. That was the first red flag. Now, if I had to do over again, I would have just had him put it right back in park, and then we would have just reviewed everything. But I was like, whatever, maybe he just skipped the gear, skipped reverse. So we paused, and I was like, you just need to put it in reverse. And as soon as I said that, he threw it in drive and hit the gas. Boom, right into the garage door. Now, fortunately, he did hit the brakes after that happened, and then eventually put it in park. So the door was damaged. My wife's car was scratched up in the front. My car was inside that garage. It did not hit my car. Could have been worse. He's terribly upset. We're just kind of stunned. So I ended up calling a garage door company to come out the next day, and then we get everybody calmed down, and we go to the game. Go to my other son's game. We go to the game and come back. Now, we did not tell my youngest son what happened. He sees the garage door, and he's like, whoa, What happened to the door? We're like, your brother hit it with the car. He was like, what? He was like, it's all bent. He's like, can it just be bent back? Can we just bend it back? I was like, yeah, it's steel on one side, steel on the other. There's insulation in the middle. I called the Incredible Hulk, and I was like, hey, can you just come just bend this door back? But he was busy. I think he's still promoting task, but he wasn't available. I was like, yeah, no. Well, we're gonna need a new door. And he's like, oh, so go inside. And my oldest son admits that he had never backed out of the driveway before. I was like, that would have been good information to know. Like, I thought that you had. I think your mom even thought you had. Why didn't you just tell us? Like, hey, just before we do this, like, I've never done it before. He was like, I thought you were testing me. I was like, oh, well, that's interesting. So this is what you thought. You're in the car. You're in front of the garage. You've never done it. And you're like, I haven't done this, but I think they want to know if I can do it. 50-50, you back it out and we're good, or you go forward and it costs us $4,000. That's not typically a test that I like to run. The zero, I win 0 or I lose 4,000. That is not, I stay away from those as a general rule in life. But that's interesting that you thought that might be the test that we were trying to run. No, we were not testing you. We thought that you could do it. So if you ever are in a situation where you haven't done anything before, just, let us know. And then the whole process to get the door fixed, the companies that came out, one of them came out. So when he hit the door, the rollers shot. They just exploded all over the garage like a grenade went off. So we're still finding them. There's rollers everywhere. One of the guys picks up the roller and he's like, you see this? I was like, yes, because you're holding it right in front of my face. And he shakes it. He's like, you hear that? I was like, nope, stone silent. And then he starts spinning it in front of me. He's like, you see that? I'm like, yeah, you're still holding it right in front of my face. It's a roller and it's rolling because you're rolling it. So yeah, we're on the same page here. I got you. He was like, now, they probably told you that this was like a really good roller, right? I was like, actually, they did. I bought the upgraded package about 14 months ago. He was like, this is the cheapest roller that you could ever buy. Like this roller is basically useless. I'm surprised your garage door is even functioning. This roller is so bad. I was like, listen, buddy, I'm not a garage door expert. I just want to hit the button. It opens. I want to hit the button again and it closes. That's the extent of my garage. Insight and knowledge. I don't know. Rollers, springs, coils, hardware, hinges. Okay. Like I know the terminology. I don't know exactly how they all work together. I'm not going to service my own garage door. I'm not going to balance it. I don't know. This is not my thing, man. And then the next guy that came out told me that I did in fact buy some of the best rollers and spring that I could have bought. So that what I did 14 months ago was actually good. And you wonder why we don't trust, contract and service providers, because you get literally the opposite ends of the spectrum. So we did get it replaced last week. It is functioning, and it also comes now. It's like they have Bluetooth. You can connect it to your phone, so you can open and close your door from your phone. It has a camera, very fancy. That way you can see if you leave the house, you're not sure. I tried to do that earlier today, and the guy told me it was super easy. And I think anytime somebody tells you it's super easy, it's going to be the hardest thing you've ever done. And I spent like 10 minutes and I never got it to work, and it just kept saying, try again. And then it wanted me to get like a router extension or a Wi-Fi extension. I was like, I'm just going to press the button. I'm just going to press the button and the keypad. It worked my whole life. I don't need to, I do enough on my phone. I don't need to open my garage door from the phone. So I love to travel. I don't do it that often. And I've taken a couple trips the last couple years to Toronto, June of 24, and then this past June. And when I was there this last time, I was there for a little bit longer, 5 days. And the first night I was there, I went out to dinner. After dinner, we walked pretty good ways away from where I was staying. And then people I were with kind of separated and went their own way. So I was walking back. Now, in Toronto, there are a lot of CVS's and a lot of Tim Hortons. And they're kind of like right next to each other the whole way. So you don't ever have to worry about being like, oh man, I should have stopped at that CVS, or I'd love a coffee and a donut, because there's going to be another one in like 100 feet. So you're good. So I was getting close to the apartment that I was staying in, and I wanted to go into CVS to get a few things. I have to go up a couple steps to get in. and there's a homeless guy opening the door for people. So he's sitting on the step, and as people walk up, he's opening the door. So I said, "Hey, thanks, man." And I walked in. So I was getting my things. I wanted to get him something because I used to carry cash. I would give cash to somebody like that. I'd give him a couple bucks, but I don't carry. I rarely have cash on me anymore. So as I was buying the drinks and some food for the week, I bought a drink called Bolt House Farms. They're like fruit, protein shake type things, right? I like the strawberry banana. They have a bunch of different flavors. So I bought that for me, the strawberry banana, and then they have a blueberry one. I don't remember the name of the blueberries, but it's a lot of blueberries in a plastic container. It's like 7,000 blueberries in 12 ounces. So how can you go wrong? So I was like, maybe a guy likes that. So I buy that for him, and I check out. So I walk out, and he opens the door for me to come out. And so I said, "Hey man, I got you this," and I go to hand him the blueberry one, and he looks at me as if it's like the dumbest thing anybody's ever done. And I was like, I just want to thank you for opening the door. And he looks and he's like, "I'm all set." And he kind of like looks down. He had a bag to his left that had more stuff in it than I think I've ever seen. Like Santa's bag's got nothing on that bag. I could get my entire pantry in that bag. I could get your entire pantry in that bag. There was so much stuff in it. It was amazing. He was like, "I'm all set." And I was like, "Well, I mean, you don't have to put it in the bag. Like, you could just drink it right now. It's summer. It's warm. This drink's cold. You could sit it next to you, and then you could have it later. Like, do you have any blueberries in this? Like, let's just look. I mean, look at all these blueberries, and there's like also like kiwi in here. It's like 5,000 kiwi. You're getting your fruit intake for like the next 3 years with this 12-ounce drink. I don't know how you're turning this down, but he didn't want any part of it. So I kept it, and I drank it like 2 days later. It was great. Not as good as strawberry banana, but it's pretty good. I've never had a homeless guy turn anything down for me. The next day, I'm out to lunch with a friend, and we are walking around after lunch, and we decide to stop in a coffee shop. Now, I was new to coffee. I was very anti-coffee for a long time. I liked the smell. I didn't love the taste. But this past April, I started drinking it, and now I've had it a little bit. Still not my favorite, but I can drink it. So my friend was like, "Hey, you want to get a coffee?" And I was like, "Normally the answer would be no. Today it's yes." I'm a 3-month newbie. So we walk in. I ordered a caramel latte with almond milk. She got a matcha something, and get the drink. Now, when I get the drink, it doesn't have a lid, and the lids and like the napkins and the stirrers are all over at this like tall table. It's like chest high. So he puts the drinks out, and he's like, "If you need any of that stuff, it's over there." So I walk over there because we were going to walk around with it, and I wanted to get a lid. Now, I have OCD, which mostly manifests itself germ related. So I have a hard time touching anything that I'm going to eat or drink. So I can't touch directly like where the mouth is. So the first time I tried to put the lid on it, I screw it up badly, and I touched like the whole thing. I also just rubbed it in both hands together like I was Mr. Miyagi. And that wasn't going to work. So I put that one aside. I grabbed another lid. I used a napkin this time to protect it, and I got it on, and we were all set. But now I have this napkin, and I have this lid. So I need to throw it away. And I look down to my right, and there's a garbage can right there. I was like, it's perfect. So I bend down, I reach, and I go to, it's like a push. And so I push it in. And as I'm doing it, there's a guy standing there. He's like, "Hey man, what are you doing?" I was like, "I'm just throwing this away." He's like, "That's my garbage can." I was like, "What?" And then I kind of put the whole thing together. He brought his own garbage can into the coffee shop. It was like his personal garbage can. Like he was traveling with it. And so I hadn't put it all the way in yet. And so I backed it out, and the thing is swinging. And I looked at him. I was like, "Oh, I was just making sure it worked for you." And then he like was talking to the person next to him. And then I look under the table that I was standing at, and the store garbage can was like tucked underneath it. And so I like reached in and threw it away. But then I just had a lot of questions. Like, so we left, and I asked my friend, I was like, "Is this a thing in Toronto? Like, is there like a shortage of garbage cans in stores? You have to bring your own?" Just that guy doing that? Is he starting to start a trend? Like, what is happening? I've never seen a personal garbage can. I've never seen this before. She's like, "I haven't either." And so then what are the odds? Did he just come from Bed Bath & Beyond? I didn't think they had those anymore. Do they have those in Toronto? Where do you buy garbage cans like that? Maybe there's a Target. Maybe it was one of the CVS's. He did pass 15 from wherever he lived to get to that place. So, yeah, I don't know. So maybe he goes around. Maybe he does that everywhere. He's like, I see if I can trick people. Like, hey, that's mine, man. You can't throw that away in there. So between the Bolthouse Farm, no dice, personal garbage cans. Like, I didn't get off to a great start in Toronto. It was still a great trip. A lot of great people there. So to finish up here, I'm at 25 minutes. So, and I know I haven't talked the act the whole time, but I'm close. So I don't know if I'm going to hit exactly 30, but I'm in the ballpark. So my parents divorced when I was very young. So I never knew what it was like for my dad to live with us. So my parents have lived separately for, close to 50 years. And, they don't, they have a relationship, but they haven't really seen each other and spent any time. But amazingly, neither of them can navigate using their phones. So they can't go any place that they don't already know how to go. My dad has like a Samsung. I don't know what model, but it's relatively new. My mom has an iPhone. Again, not sure of the model, but they are relatively recent. They are not models from 2005 or 6 that was like the first smartphone that didn't have Google Maps or whatever Apple uses. It's amazing. And so I tell people this and they're like, you're just kidding. They think I'm like making it up to be funny. And I'm like, I'm really not. So I'm going to tell you 2 stories. First one, a couple months ago, my mom was in town. I was doing a Spartan race, so I was going to be away from the house for most of the day. And my oldest son was playing golf. She needed to pick him up from the golf course. So as she texted me the day before, she was like, I'm not sure when I'm coming up. Can you leave me the directions to go pick him up? And I was like, sure. You want me to write those down? Do you want MapQuest printout? Like, what kind of directions are we talking? I just ignored it. I didn't say anything. She ended up coming up the day before. So it's the night before and we're sitting on the couch and she's like, hey, I need those directions. And I was like, I understand. I was like, pick up your phone. She did. I was like, go to the maps, press it. She did. I was like, now here's the thing. You don't even actually really know, you don't really need to know where you're going. You just need to know like the first 3 or 4 letters and then it will guess for you. So then if you know, it's good. So I had her type in the first 4 letters and I was like, did it pop up? She said, yep. I was like, hit that. And she did. And I was like, all right, those are the directions. And I was like, now, see the button? And it says like directions. I was like, hit that. And she did. And I was like, now, here's the thing. This is where this is going to blow your mind. It's totally nuts. It now will tell you how to get there, turn by turn. In fact, it doesn't even have a lot of patience. Like if you're parked, it's like back up. You throw it in reverse and you're just like, why haven't you backed up yet? Like they need you to back up in 1 second. And you're like, I'm trying to back up. And she's like, can I just get out of my driveway? And they're like, turn right in 200 feet. It's like, I don't know how far 200 feet is. Can you just tell me when I get to the street? It's very needy. It's very bossy, but it will get you there. Of course, sometimes it waits until you need to get over and it's way too late. It's like, you should have gotten over there. I thought you knew that. I didn't tell you. It does have some problems, but you can go anywhere in the world and not know how to get there because your phone will tell you. And then I guess I ended up getting home later that day. And then I said, hey, did you any problems finding the golf course? And then she was like, no problem. Because my youngest son went with her and he told her basically how to get there. I don't even think they used the phone. I think they ignored it. I think they just guessed. They're like, let's just go east. Let's just see where we end up. So that's my mom's story. My dad's story happened last year. He was going to come up for one of my son's basketball games. Now he lives 2 hours away. The game was at 6:00. I wanted him to come and meet us directly at the school. I didn't want to come to the house first and ride over with us. It's just easier and just meet us at school. No. Gave him the address to the school. He's 2 hours away. Game's at 6. He's like, I'm going to leave at 3. That'll give me some extra time in case there's traffic or whatnot. Fine. At 5:45, we have not heard from him. I call him and I'm like, hey, like game's getting ready to start. Where are you? He's like, I'm in Indianapolis. I was like, all right, so here's what you're going to do. Just go north 2 miles, bang a left, just keep going, turn right. I think you'll probably find it. Let me know if you have any questions. I said, okay. I don't know exactly where that is. I mean, I have a rough idea where Indianapolis is, but that doesn't help me. So my wife pinned him our location. I was like, go to your text. My wife just sent you the exact address. Open it and then navigate to it. Direction, start, whatever. He's like, all right. 6:30, we still haven't seen him. He finally walks in. Missed the entire first half. I'm like, what happened? He's like, I don't know. Something's a problem with the Bluetooth or something. Okay. So we watched the game. We then watched some of the next game, and then we leave. And I was like, all right, I'll take you to your car. Follow me. They're like, where'd you park? He's like, I don't know. I was like, all right, well, there's basically 3 parking lots. We'll find it. So I'm driving around. I picked the first one, which where most people park. We drive up and down. He's like hitting the key fob. Nothing. Go to the second lot where you could park. Same thing. Nothing. Go to the third one, which is much bigger. Drive up and down that. Nothing. I'm like, all right, maybe we missed it. Do the same thing again. All three lots. Nothing. And I was like, I don't like. There's not really another place to park. He's like, I mean, it's something around here somewhere. I was like, there's one other lot where no one would ever park. I don't even know if anyone's ever parked there. I drive over to that, and as soon as you see it, he's like, oh yeah, that's where I parked. Find his car. He drives like a big truck. And I was like, how come you can't navigate? Like, why can't, I don't understand this. And he's like, well, the phone's connected to the truck, but the Bluetooth doesn't work. And so I can't, like, it doesn't work. I was like, it doesn't work on the phone or the truck. So the Bluetooth screws both of them up. He's like, yeah. I was like, why can't you just turn the Bluetooth off? He's like, I don't know how to do that. And I was like, all right. So that's it. So now when I tell people this, I'm like, they don't navigate. Like they just don't. Now that I'm saying this out loud, I just thought of this. I wonder if I should get them like an atlas for Christmas. Like, do they still make those? Like the Rand McNally, like you get it out. I'm old enough where we used to have maps like on the dashboard. Like you'd have the map open and you'd be like with your finger, be like tracing it. Like, okay, what street are we on? All right, we got to turn here. I think that would be more effective for them. I really do. I mean, not drive by yourself. That's dangerous, but you gotta just at least get a passenger and be like, hey, can you come with me? Like, yeah, what do you need? I just need you to look at the map. I'm gonna tell you what street we're on and where I want to go. I just need you to like trace it. Bring a pencil and like before we go, I'll have you just like shade it and it'll be easier for you to follow. So that's it. So we made it 32 minutes. I think that was exactly 30. I proved that I could do it. I hope you enjoyed it. Happy Thanksgiving. If you are listening to this around the time, this is Monday, the 24th week of Thanksgiving, 2025. I appreciate it. Hope you got some humor out of this. I appreciate it. Thanks to the coach who pushed me to do this. I would never have done it without prompting. And we will see you next time. This is the Underlayer, where the real story lives, and beneath the surface is where you need to go to find what you're looking for. My name is David Young. Thanks for listening, and we will see you again next time.